Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based role-playing game where parrying is the core gameplay mechanic everything else is built upon. The narrative is an excellent exploration and portrayal of sorrow and grief. The game features excellent art direction with immaculate and epic music. Clair Obscur does very little wrong. It knows what it is trying to do and executes on that vision very well. Combat is where you spend most of your time in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You parry or dodge on the enemy turn and use your own turn to execute an optimal sequence of attacks and abilities. I would describe it as a one-dimensional system with a focus on achieving perfection. The core mechanic is parrying, and it is insanely powerful. Successful parries and dodges means you take 0 damage. Failure means you take a fair amount of damage. Successful parries give you ability points, which is used to pay for your own attacks and abilities on your turn. If you parry every attack in a sequence, you automatically counterattack for a significant amount of damage. The combat relies heavily on learning the enemy animation patterns and reacting to these. Animations rely heavily on fake-out animations. The enemies perform sequences that are very acrobatic, almost like dance moves, before they suddenly stop and stab you in the face. Dance moves in which they swing a weapon sort of at you before they do a pirouette before they, come back and stab you in the face. Character builds are a part of the game, but they are much less important than parrying. And I would say that it probably takes 10 to 20 hours before you have meaningful options in the build department, and even then it is quite limited how much you can do with it. While there is a lot of enjoyment to be had playing with the builds, and some of them are quite powerful, they mostly determine how much parrying you need to do in the battles. Builds determine the rotation of abilities your character needs to do. If you enjoy parrying, Clair Obscur's combat system is going to be quite fun and enjoyable for you. It rewards you with great sounds and animations when you succeed. And if you can enjoy the combat system for what it is, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 offers an excellent sense of exploration that is highly satisfying and rewarding. The game manages to create the feeling of venturing into the unknown of an expedition very well. It is a joy to discover what the secrets of the world is. The game is unpredictable in what you will discover, which is what makes this part of the experience so good. The narrative is pretty slow, but it is very well written. The characters feel like their own persons that exist in a well-established world. The characters are supported by solid animation and voice acting. The themes of sorrow and grief are handled fantastically, and the overall depth of emotions explored in this game is fantastic.
Thanks.
Every part of this experience is supported by fantastic music and visuals. Music does so much work for the combat, the narrative, and the game as a package. The art direction and visuals create wonderful environments you can stare at for hours at an end. Clair Obscur is playable using a keyboard and mouse, but I would personally not recommend it. The interfaces are bad and not made for it, and it feels terrible to navigate with a keyboard and mouse. And I do prefer a keyboard and mouse myself, and I would still recommend using a controller.
Can we talk?
There is a lot to like about Clair Obscur, and if you like what the game is doing, it is very hard to find major complaints about the game. A significant amount of time is spent in combat, and you don't get the proper experience of the rest of the game without liking that and being willing to spend a lot of hours grinding through combat. The game demands a lot of hours from you, and if you're not able or willing to give the game that, I do not recommend it. If you can spend the time and you enjoy the combat, Clair Obscur is going to be a fantastic experience. And that is my reasonably objective take on Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But I think it is important to convey my subjective experience as well. I did not like Clair Obscur. The combat was dull and repetitive, as I don't enjoy parrying the same attacks hundreds of times. The narrative failed to maintain the excellent depth towards the end of the story, which made me lose interest in it. And it is not a bad ending, but I do think the quality is much higher in the earlier parts of the game when it comes to the narrative. I'm unsure if I would play the game. The story and the world is very interesting and the music is phenomenal, but the combat took up too much time for me. And I hope that you found some of this of value and found it interesting. Thank you for watching.
For those who come after.